Hey YouTube, this is Gozer87 and welcome to my woodshed. Well, I'm back out in the shed, and it's even colder than it was before. It's probably about 35 out today, as you can see by the steaming breath. So I'm working on my cheap Kopis again, and I came up with a different idea than what I had decided before, where I was going to put a wooden handle on there. I decided to use the cutting wheel and cut further into the blade, and then I'm gonna cut the small handle and between the horse head section and the front, and then use wood to fill that in between, kind of a composite grip. So I'll pan down so you can see what I'm talking about. If you look here, you can see that I've already cut off a bit to make it longer, and it's pretty thick steel. So, and I have a smallish 4.5-inch angle grinder, so I just did it by cutting divots into the metal, and then I'll cut those off and grind them flat and grind it down so that there's no sharp edges on it. And what I plan to do with the handle is there's a convenient spot right here where I can just cut it straight, and then I'll probably cut somewhere around here, and you can see where it still slides on. And it's still pretty deep, but as you can see, it's still kind of small for my hand. So I just need to stretch it out a skosh, not too much, but just enough that that my hand can actually grip on all of it. And better to be too long and too short. And since this is, looking at it, this is actually, even though it's cast, it's a hollow handle. I'm going to be able to drill it and peen it on the back. Because, as part of Black Friday, I picked up a propane gas forge. Not a gas forge, rather, but a propane, let me get here a better light. But a propane weed burner. Well, that ain't doing any good either. Oh, there we go. So so a propane weed burner, and because across on YouTube, I'd seen some guys that were making simple forges using a propane weed burner and fire brick. So that's going to be my next step in this whole evolution of actually having something to show for my time in the shed. So anyway, that's the plan. Like I said, I'm gonna cut this off and continue on, and I'll cut down the handle, and we'll be right back after I do that, and I'll show you whether I succeeded or failed. So back in a bit. Okay, so I did it, and I don't think I screwed it up too bad. So okay, so you can see that where those notches were, I trimmed it off and I rounded it out, hitting it with the angle grinder. Then using the angle grinder with the cutting wheel, I just basically trimmed the handle right here and joined like that. So there's a convenient little line, so I cut it there. Looking at it, if you slide this bad boy on, it's a little loose. It's definitely gonna need some JB weld. Basically, if all I did was put a little gap in like that. So if you look at it, you press the handle all the way and hold it. There's really all the gap that I needed for it to fit my hand properly. As you can see, it wouldn't fit. So now I'm tempted though to basically cut it right there and just put a piece of wood in there, and this will slide over it, because part of it is that the handle is really hollow cast. I mean, look at that. It's way wider than the tang was at all. And there were no pins, just brazing holding it on there. It's the same thing like that. Very wide, and in fact, this is kind of, because it's so wide, it's kind of wonky. So what I'll probably end up doing is putting a piece of wood here. Let's get down. You can kind of see where that hollow spot is. right in there. So I'll end up gluing wood on first, and then forcing that on over top of it so that it fits in place. And then epoxying it on. So it definitely won't be battle ready. Hopefully it'll look nice. And then after I do that, then the next step will be making a scabbard for it. Alright, so I think that's it. I'm gonna get to working, and I will update you when I get this step finished. Thanks for watching.